Hi guys. Sorry, I have to step out for a meeting, but I wanted to make sure you guys had everything you needed to finish your classwork for today. So if you have finished your tax tip and discount work on pages 1 and 2, you're going to scroll down to page 3. And again, just like usual, if your answers had taken up a little bit more space, it's possible that you have some blank space in your notes, and this may have gotten pushed to page 4. But you're looking for what you see on the screen, this percent proportion header on your page here. And I'm just going to go through a few examples with you, and that should give you plenty of time to fill in the notes that I'm doing with you now, and then maybe give a few of these a try before the end of class today. So at the top here, by now, you're familiar with finding a certain percentage of a given number. But what if you were asked to find something more complicated? What percent of 75 is 30? 32 is 18% of what number? We can use proportions to help us. So you've got two sort of examples here, these proportions. One says part to whole equals percent over 100, and the other says is over of equals percent over 100. So there's a couple of things sort of in common between these. These are kind of interchangeable, but sometimes one makes more sense than the other. I'm going to be using this is over of equals percent over 100 a lot as I go through these examples. But you'll notice in each example, the ratio on the right side is the same. We've got a percentage, and that's always over the number 100. And so if you have taken a look at your notes, where's my scroll bar? I have to move my video here. In all of your setups for your proportions, I've actually gone ahead and already filled in the number 100 for you, since that's common to every single one that you're going to do. Okay, now if you are doing this on paper, I encourage you to do some circling of things. I'm going to obviously not be circling things since I'm working digitally, as most of you probably are. So I'm going to be using like the highlighter tool to kind of group some things together to make sure that we set up our proportions correctly to solve these problems. Now, this is over of equals percent over 100. The is and the of are kind of keywords that are going to help guide the setup of our proportions here. So let's get into an example. I think it'll make a little more sense as we get into it. All right, so our first example is one of the ones that we actually saw up in the header here in the directions. What percent of 75 is 30? So I'm going to go ahead and highlight in different colors a couple different pieces that I'm noticing here in this problem. So first, I'm seeing it says what percent. They have not given us any percentage. So that tells me right off the bat, I'll use purple for that. That tells me right off the bat that the percentage is what's missing here. There should only be one piece of this proportion that's missing. And since I've already filled in the number 100 for you on each of these, we're really just looking to place two numbers every time that we're setting up these proportions. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this drawing. And I know that I'm looking for a percentage. There was no percentage in this problem. So I'm going to go ahead and automatically put in, I'll use the letter X as my missing value. And that has to go in the spot where the percent goes in the problem. So that's pretty easy. I'll go ahead and close out that drawing so we can identify the remaining parts of our problem and where they're going to go in the proportion. So like I said, the is and the of are kind of keywords here that are going to help you set up this proportion. What it's doing is forcing you to kind of figure out which part is the part and which part is the whole in this situation, which can be a little hard to figure out, but the words is and of are dead giveaways for this. So that's why I like to sort of always come back to this proportion. So in the problem that we're doing, so we have what percent of 75. The word of is right before the word 75. We'll use a bluish color there. And then we have is 30. Now, again, if we were doing this on paper and maybe you are at school, that's great. You would circle, of 75 and is 30. And that groups them together. And that should help us figure out where to place those numbers in our proportion. So again, I'm going to go ahead and open up this drawing. I'm going to move this out of the way a bit so we can see our highlighting here. So we know that we need is over of. So we have of 75. So 75 is going to go in the of spot. And 30 is going to go in the is spot. And once you're here, actually, you know what? I'm going to open that right back up. This is just a simple proportion to solve. So I'm going to go ahead, open up my Scribble tool. You can use the bow tie method. You can use cross products. If you can find a scale factor, great. We've done solving proportions many different ways at this point, so that is totally up to you. Okay, I'm going to multiply 30 by 100, then divide by 75. That's going to give me my answer. You know what? I'm actually going to switch to my calculator. So I have 30 times 100 divided by 75. Okay, so my answer is 40. Okay. And you know what? I did not put in a spot for the answer. I'll go ahead and put it here. Okay. And because the missing number was a percent, I'm going to leave my answer as 40 with a percent symbol there. So that's our first example. Okay, I'm just going to scroll down a bit, but the example will still be viewable to you. I'm going to go through maybe one or two more. Fill these out in your notes, you know, as you kind of get to them. But again, you'll be able to, you know, pause this video or go back to the video. I'm going to try to leave things up in the video for a good length of time so you can fill in as you go. All right, question 1. 32 is 18% of what number? Okay, so let's go ahead and start highlighting. I'll try to use the same colors that I did up here for each of the same pieces, but you don't have to. All right, so the first thing I'm seeing is 32 is. So let's highlight that. I'll use red because I used red for is up here. It doesn't matter. You don't have to do that. Okay, 18%. If you see a percent symbol, that is automatically going to be your percentage. No questions asked. Okay, and then the remainder of the question says of what number? So that tells me that the of piece is what's missing. All right, so the rest of these are proportions are not drawings. They are actually just like an equation editor, so you can type right into these. Now I'm going to go ahead and I always like to start with my percent. I find that that's the easiest one to fill in if I have a percentage there. Now you'll notice I did not put the percent symbol in there, and that's because I don't want you guys to, if you're using a calculator, I don't want you to get in the habit of using that percent button when you're trying to solve these because it's going to kind of mess things up a little bit. I know some people have gotten used to using the percent button on the calculator. I don't want you doing that, not for these, okay? Being over the number 100, that takes care of that process, but you could end up doing, you know, the dividing by 100 part multiple times by accident, screws everything up. So that is why I'm not going to include the percent symbol there. Okay, so now we have two blanks over here. One of them is going to be our missing value that we need to solve for. The other is going to be filled in. Okay, so let's see, 32 is. So I need to go to my is spot, which looks like it's the top of the left side here. 32, shifted everything around. Okay, 32 is 18% of what number? So there's my missing value. Okay, and so since this isn't a drawing, I'm not going to, you know, draw in my arrows or anything there, but let's see, it looks like I'm going to do 32 times 100. It equals in between, and then divide by 18. Okay, ooh, not a very nice number, but that's okay. Not every single answer is going to be like a nice, neat number, and that's all right. Okay. So our answer here is 177.7. You can put like 3 dots after if you want to indicate that it's repeating. Totally fine. Okay. But don't be scared that, you know, if you get a number, you know, if you're working on a percentage, sometimes the percentage could be over 100. You can absolutely have decimals in your answers, whether it's just a regular number or a percentage. Does not mean that you're wrong. So don't get scared off if you get kind of a weird answer. So this is kind of a good one to have as one of our first questions. All right, let's do one more and then I'll go ahead and end this video. You guys can fill in your notes, anything that you've missed on these first few, and then maybe give a few a try on your own. Okay, here we go. So 60% of 145 is what number? All right, so I like that we have a percentage here. Again, for me, that is always really easy to spot right off the bat. And so, like if it were me doing this, which I guess it is, I go ahead and fill in the percentage right away. Because to me, that seems pretty simple. I'm not going to like make a mistake about where the percent goes. That's always in that top right spot. Okay, 60% of 145 of, I was using like a greenish color. Okay, and then is what number? So in this case, it looks like my is the missing value. All right, so let's fill in the left side. 60% of 145. So 145 will go in my of spot. That is like the total, the whole. And we are looking for what number is 60% of that. So we'll go ahead and put our variable here. Didn't quite center that, but that's okay. That's fine. All right, here we go. So I'm going to be multiplying 145 by 60. You're always just looking for whatever two numbers you can cross multiply. So any two numbers that are diagonal from each other, that's what you'll do. And then divide by whatever the third number is. Just if you need a refresher on doing some of those proportions. Now I forgot what the numbers were. Okay, 145 times 60. Make sure you hit equals in between. And then dividing by 100. And it looks like our answer here is going to be 87. All right. So if you need to go back through this video at any point to fill those in, that's great. Even if you need to fill anything in from this video that you may have missed, feel free to just pause the video because I think everything that you need should be there. Unless, of course, you need the explanation again, please feel free to rewatch. But with whatever time is left, I would like you guys to try maybe questions 3 and 4. If you have time to do more, that's great. But please also make sure you allow yourself a few minutes to do your exit ticket today. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to send me a message in Google Classroom or just email me. That's fine. I just want to emphasize this is not something you're going to have on like a quiz or a test. So I don't want you to get stressed out if this, maybe isn't quite clicking yet. It's okay. It's just one of the things that we hadn't gotten to with percentages and proportions that I feel like is a pretty worthwhile use of our time. So again, don't stress. Just kind of an activity to try for the day. But I think that's it. All right, guys, good job. Behave for the sub, and I'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your day, you guys.